Every conversation can and will elevate you. It's where real talk meets real growth. Welcome to Level Up. Today, I'm with Sahara Rose DeVora, founder and CEO of the Travel Coach Network, TEDx speaker, author, investor, and someone who solo traveled to 84 countries while studying what drives people to truly travel. And what I love the most is that she didn't just build a brand, but really she built the whole category of something really interesting and personally interesting to it as well. Welcome to the show, Sahara.
Hi, Hakim. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's really a pleasure to have you, and I'm really excited to unpack your stories and what are you bringing to the world, the travel world, which is absolutely exciting. But quickly, for anyone who doesn't know you, if you're on a dinner table and you want to introduce yourself, how would you do it?
Yeah, well, I'm Sahara Rose DeVora. I'm the founder and CEO of the Travel Coach Network. We're a global platform that trains, educates, and certifies travel coaches around the globe. We have over 755 travel coaches from 40 plus countries, really helping people use travel as a tool for transformation, healing, personal growth, self-discovery, and all those incredible things that we know that travel can do for us.
I'm really excited to talk a little bit more about your journey, especially when it comes to wellness and the travel coach. We'll come to that in a moment. But I saw your line, imagine if the map of the world wasn't just a destination, but a prescription for our feelings. That's really deep and really interesting. And I want to know, like, what did inspire you to write this?
Yeah, so every time that we travel, it's for a different reason, right? We're a different person, we're going through something different, and we have a different motivation for why we want to quote unquote get away or have an escape or just go on a trip. So instead of looking at the world, the map, as a bunch of different destinations and sights to see and things to do, instead we could look at it as what I said, kind of as prescriptions for whatever it is that we're looking for in that moment of time. So, how we want to feel. For example, if we are recently going through something like a loss or a life transition, or we're seeking clarity or finding our purpose after losing a loved one. And all of these really come from all these different stories that I've heard of from my travel coaches and the niches that they focus in. But people turning to travel for grief or healing from grief or coping with grief or certain types of life transitions like divorce or becoming an empty nester. So instead, like we're all seeking something differently during those times in our lives. So this world, instead of seeing it as a map of, like I said, destinations and things to do and see, instead, we know how powerful travel is for us as human beings, and flipping the script on that and seeing these different experiences in the world, whether it's the destination, whether it's the culture that's there, whether it's the nature that's there, the route to get there, whatever it might be, all these different elements of travel, those could be the things that could help us during this specific time in our life, reaching whatever feelings, goals, and outcomes that we're looking for that particular type of trip.
Really interesting. And I fully agree with you. On my own experience, definitely travel is something that changed my life. Like every country I traveled to, every person I met, and the things I learned, absolutely, it always touched, my feelings, always made me feel something good about it. So take us back. I want to understand a little bit, because you traveled to 84 countries. Like, I don't know much people who travel to 84 countries, but take us back to the origin. Like, what was happening in your life that made you actually travel all this, or was it planned, or how did it go?
Yeah, no, I didn't grow up in a family that traveled. Travel wasn't something that we talked about. My grandmother was from Mexico, so our extent of traveling was to pack in the family van and drive across the U.S. from Wisconsin to southern Texas and then into Mexico. And the same thing for the French region of Canada, which is where my grandfather's family was from. But I was so small, I remember bits and pieces of the Mexico trips, and that's about it. But no one traveled for business. No one took vacations. No one, we just, travel just wasn't anything that crossed my mind. And it wasn't until my third year of university, I was switching universities, moving back across country, and I had a limited time to figure out like where I wanted to go to school and what I wanted to major in. I was never someone as well who knew exactly what career path I wanted in life. I didn't graduate high school knowing I wanted to go into a specific career like becoming a doctor or a dentist or a vet or anything like that that I knew like my friends already had clarity on. So I spent a lot of years kind of just figuring out and toying with different subjects. And so I came across a hospitality and tourism management program in Chicago, and I said, "Travel, that sounds cool. Like, who doesn't like to travel? I'll." I got into that program, and it was really during that program that I was really exposed to the idea of traveling. At that time, I had also heard about this concept of backpacking Europe, but I met a lot of foreign exchange students in my program and from Asia and South America and Europe, and realized like how easy it was for them to travel to other countries being in that region versus in the US. We're so far from other
Yeah.
countries other than obviously Canada and Mexico, but it's so costly to travel around the US and it takes so much time. I'm like, wow, they can take a train to another country in a day and then go back home. Like, I want to do that. And I'd heard of all these different countries that people in my class had traveled to. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to be able to do that. And so I made a pact with myself. I had 2 years left of university. I was going to figure out how I can save enough money to travel because I too had the mindset that travel is expensive and that, it was going to take a lot to be able to travel. And at the time, I only thought I was gonna backpack Europe, Western Europe. And so I was trying to save for that. And, 2 years go by and I graduate university and I bought a one-way ticket to Europe and I thought I was gonna go on this, month and a half backpacking trip and come back home and quote unquote figure out my life and find a company to work for and climb the ladder and make my mom proud and get a good salary and title and all the stuff that we feel like we're supposed to do after getting a degree in university. And I fell in love with travel. I fell in love with what it was doing for me. I'd always struggled with an anxiety disorder my whole life. And during that time of university, my last couple years, I was struggling with depression and I knew that I needed to get away. And again, I it kind of all happened at the same time that I was going to go on this backpacking trip. But I didn't realize that this trip in particular was really feeding my soul in ways that I had never expected. Because again, I wasn't really
Mm.
exposed to traveling. And it was during that experience that I was like, "I don't wanna stop this," and so that's when I continued on for the next 10 years, hopping around to 84 countries, coming back and forth, from home and changing my wardrobe and heading from a cold continent to a warm continent, and, yeah, that's really what my journey started as, and I learned a lot during that experience about the travel industry.
This is inspiring. Did you learn something about the people specifically while you are actually learning about yourself?
Absolutely. The people, I mean, in travel, the foundation of travel itself, of tourism, is people and place. So you can't learn anything about yourself without being in this new place and around these new people. I mean, one of the biggest things that stood out to me was just about humanity itself, of how one similar we are as human beings around this world, but also how kind people are. And we don't have to speak the same language. We don't have to believe the same beliefs. We don't have to have the same lifestyle or anything. But we're it all boils down that we're people, and so there's so many places that I've been to where I didn't speak the language and I was lost and I needed directions or I needed a place to sleep and I needed some food and people helped me and they
Nice.
gave me a ride to the airport or they gave me a room to sleep in or made some food for me or they welcomed me into their family. And so it was during those times that I realized like you can really lean on people. You don't have to know them, but we share this common bond as human beings that we all seek the same thing. We seek acceptance and belonging and safety and security and understanding. And that's why I always say like if we just traveled a little bit more, the world would be a lot kinder of a
Yes.
place.
I agree. I always said that. It's so funny. I always say that to my friends, and I kind of mirror what you're saying about people. I think what I enjoyed most in travel is definitely meeting new people and on learning about them, and making new friends. And I still have friends that I met like 10, 15 years ago all over the world, which is absolutely interesting. Do you have a favorite destination, like out of all of these countries you've been to? Do you have one place like this is what I always can come back to?
Yeah, people always ask that. It is really hard because everywhere offers something so differently. But a place that I went back to many times and it is a place that really speaks to my heart is Thailand. And even though that's such like a typical backpacker answer, It really is. It's a destination that just suits my personality in the sense of, it obviously has beautiful nature and beaches
Yeah.
and weather and fresh fruits and great food, but the
Yes.
people are so
Oh my god.
kind and it's a really diverse country. Like it's really actually a pretty big country with, there's so many different things that it has to offer. It has the spirituality, and it has the affordability once you're
Yes,
there.
yes, that's
So
true.
you can be in a very rural area, you can be in a very popular area as well. So that's a place that I really, really loved and took my mom back to traveling many times. And I lived there for a couple months. And
Nice.
yeah, I just really loved Thailand. That and like the Philippines is a close second. They're kind of similar.
Thailand, I
Yeah.
agree. It was actually my very first country I traveled to abroad where I was living that time in the Middle East. But I agree with you. Thank you for answering. I know it's not easy, especially if you travel to 84 countries. To look more into what are you doing right now, especially with as a travel coach. And let's make it super clear. People here, travel coach, think of agent or hotels, like a travel booking something. What are you actually, and how can you describe this to the people, to the audience?
Yeah, a lot of people obviously think when you say you have a travel business, the first thing that comes to mind is a travel agency, or if you say you work in travel or help people travel, that you plan and book their trips for them, right? But when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a career in travel, I'd obviously knew the things I'd learned about in my hospitality tourism management. I'd obviously also learned about the different things that I knew I was exposed to. I was living in a big city of Chicago, which is huge for tourism and hospitality. And as I traveled, new kind of roles, jobs came about, like influencer and blogging and travel writing. And, I didn't want to be any of the things I'd learned about and heard about over the years. And I always craved a more meaningful way to help people with what it was that I believed in travel and how beneficial travel was for me. And I struggled to find what that could be. And so giving myself time and grace, eventually when I was 30, I said, okay, guys, I have to figure out, and create a business myself. I have no clue what that could be. And that was the first time I really took it serious to figure out like what could I do that adds more purpose to everything that I've learned about travel and that I believe in about travel. And that was when I learned about the coaching industry. So I came across business coaches because I was trying to figure out how to start an online business. So I learned about business coaching and health and wellness and life coaches, and I was like, wow, that's such a booming industry. I never really thought about the coaching world. I wanna be a travel coach, and I didn't see the term anywhere, I didn't really care, so I started my own wellness travel coaching business in 2018, and so I essentially got paid to stand on stages and educate companies, in particular their business traveler programs, on the various mental, emotional, physical, social wellness benefits of travel. And soon after I started doing that, I had a lot of people reaching out asking about a travel coach and what is it, where did I learn about it. And it's very much my personality to kind of go with gut instincts that I have or to kind of do what I feel like I want to do versus what the industry or people say is possible. And whether that's in life or in business.
Yes.
And so I had another gut instinct and I said, I will figure out how to create this platform for that and pioneer this path because I know that having hundreds and tens of thousands of conversations with other travelers throughout the years, that travel is very personal to us and it's very emotional. There's deeper reasons why we travel, and I wanted to bring that to the surface, and I felt like that was missing in the entire travel industry when it came to travel careers and travel itself, and so when I started the Travel Coach Network, I had to define what travel coaching was, and like I briefly said, it's essentially it's helping people use travel as more of a tool in their life for transformation, healing, wellness, personal growth, professional development, reaching whatever goals or aspirations that they have in their life or at that particular time. And so, what the Travel Coach Network is we're a certification platform. So, we help people who are passionate about travel, people who come from different backgrounds already, maybe from the travel industry, maybe from a different industry, combining the concept of travel with what they do, become certified travel coaches to help their ideal clients use travel as a way to reach their goals or on their transformative journeys.
It's incredible. I love the fact that you combine both of your passion into becoming your career, which is absolutely travel and wellness together. You're really helping people to heal while traveling. That's really interesting and deep, like you said in the beginning, that travel can be really prospection of the feelings, which is absolutely something I think is missing in the hospitality. That's my personal opinion, but also in corporate world, it maybe exists. The past couple of years has started to be more seen, but it's not still not yet really I would say a priority or a hot topic, and I think it should be because, of course, we all witnessed, the rise of the mental health issues, and people are getting more depressed, especially after COVID, and people were staying home for long, and all that's meaningful what you're doing. And where there's a specific problem that you're trying to solve in the industry, or yeah, it's something specific case that you really wanted to work out, and it started from there.
Yeah, it's a kind of both. So when I started my own wellness travel coaching business, what came to mind for me and why I chose that route for myself was as I was traveling, and because I personally didn't take the corporate route in life, and but I had obviously heard about it, and then as I was backpacking the world, I started hearing this trend of digital nomadism, and then we heard this trend of people quitting the 9 to 5 to travel. So that became pretty much like a tagline: quit your 9 to 5 to travel the world.
Yeah.
I remember thinking to myself, like, why are people quitting their jobs? Many high paying jobs. I've heard of cases where, leaders and executives quit their jobs and left everything behind to travel. And I said, what
Sure.
is it that's so powerful about travel that people are willing to do that? And it's travel that they're turning to. They're not quitting their jobs to sit at home or go play golf or lay on the couch or something else. Like, why is it travel that they're turning to? And this then therefore that must be a problem for companies. Why aren't companies paying attention to how valuable travel is? I know within the US, I think corporate they get people usually get like 2 weeks of vacation time a year.
Yeah, for sure.
And even within that, there's a culture around it that people don't use their vacation days. And so I started digging into I wanted to spread that message within the corporate world and talk about, the benefits of travel and how that can help the employees and ultimately help the company. So I spent over a year and a half just researching what's going on in the corporate space when it comes to travel and vacation. And that's how I learned more about business travel and the business travel industry and the burnout that was happening, the burnout epidemic that was happening. And I said, there's such a disconnect, but there's all this research that exists on these benefits of travel that science and studies and case studies have shown over the past decades that how travel can help us mentally and physically and emotionally and socially and professionally and everything. Why are companies not utilizing this? And that's how I started my wellness travel coaching business. But I knew that there was, from a greater scale, other people with other areas of their own stories and their own passions and their own angles and their own kind of pillars around the benefits of travel. So whether that's for the grieving process, whether that's for self-empowerment, whether that's for you know, enhancing their relationship. Again, different things that people can help or that people turn to travel for in the first place. And so I wanted to be able to create a platform as I was learning, growing my own wellness travel coaching business, how other people could do that for themselves.
Yeah, interesting. Definitely solving a huge problem. You also have of course, the certification and the standards behind it. What you described as the only ICF accredited certification program specifically for travel coaches, and you built a global community of coaches across many countries. What did it take to bring coaching standards into travel, and why the accreditation is important?
Yeah, so the coaching world is kind of a little bit of the wild, wild west, right? Like anyone can really call themselves a coach. So I wanted to really be able to have that, provide those credentials for our members, our coaches.
Mm.
And so it took some time to figure out what accreditation process I wanted to go through. And we redo this process every single year. And I chose the ICF, International Coach Federation, because it enabled people to also be international, which is big because, again, our members drawn to our concept of travel coaching and want to become travel coaches are from all over the globe, 40 plus different countries so far. Um, and so it's really important to have a structure around coaching that people can digest and implement and integrate into their own frameworks and process. Because in order to help people have meaningful, transformative experiences that are intentional, that takes structure. And then within that structure, it takes practice, it takes knowledge, education on how to be a coach, how to hold space as a coach. What does what does that even mean to be a
Mm.
coach? And so I wanted to be able to kind of make sure that our programs, our education aligns with everything in the proper way so that we give our coaches the best experience and set them up for the best results as they can in their business.
Moving to the future, AI, everyone talks about. You have this line I love as well. You wrote with an AI driven future in travel. We did the human centric and emotional approach to why we travel. That's the future right there. So let's go there. When AI can plan everything, what becomes more valuable than human, and especially in the industry and in what you do?
Yeah, I mean, like going back to travel being really emotional and really personal, there's something about travel that AI is never going to be able to replace. Just like all the other resources that exist out there on with travel blogs and the internet when it comes to where to go and what to do and what to see and how to book and where the best flights and deals are, AI can do all of that. Um, and even though AI can give this, faux emotional support for people, people are always going to want personal experiences and recommendations and see themselves in other people's journeys. And there's a reason
Mm.
why people are who scroll and follow travel influencers and travel, people who travel a lot on social media. We see experiences and we see ourselves and we hear how we want to experience what we've seen others do or have the outcomes that we see others have. And so there's this human connection to travel and to other travelers that AI isn't going to be able to replace. And so it's really important to be able to keep that human centric approach to travel, that really emotional approach to travel, because again, it's not about where to go and what to do. It's not about going on vacations all the time and just taking a trip. Like what we're doing in the world of travel coaching is really helping people see that travel can be a tool in your life, a possible source in your life, a possible solution in your life for whatever it is that you are in need of. And this goes far beyond even people who are thinking about travel, right? Because that's what the
Mm.
travel industry already does. Like travel agents, their clients are already thinking about a trip. They're just there to help support them
Yeah.
through that journey. But travel coaching is beyond that. Travel coaching is about even reaching the people who may not even have thought about travel as being a possible solution for what they're going through. So again, it could be someone who's going through loss or grief, someone who's nearing burnout in the corporate world, someone who is a caregiver and putting everyone else first. Busy moms who put everyone else before themselves don't have time to think about travel. They might be following a lot of travel influencers and envying their life secretly, but they've never thought that. But that's where the travel coaches come into place and say, have you considered an experience like this? Have you experienced whatever it is that they're selling? That's where the offers come in, right? That's where the business models come in of like whether it's the destination you're trying to
Mm.
sell, the experience you're trying to sell, the
Yeah.
retreat, the coaching program, whatever it is, because the travel coaching world's very diverse in their business models. Whatever the offer is, have you considered that to help you go from feeling like this to feeling like
Like
that?
a purpose.
Travel, it's so powerful because of X, Y, and Z that can help you get there. And this is what my program, my retreat, this destination, if you're a tourism board, whatever, can help you achieve those goals and feelings.
Pretty interesting. You said your retreat. You do retreats actually.
So many travel coaches do retreats. Yeah. So the concept of travel coaching is really complementary to other areas and industries. So we have health, life, wellness coaches, we have retreat leaders, we have tour operators, travel agents, medical experts combining travel and travel coaching with what they do in their business. So I personally don't run retreats, but many of our travel coaches do.
That's really interesting and absolutely something missing. I didn't see that also. Like you said, a lot of brands or a lot of hotels maybe or travel brands, they sell the places, they sell the package and what's included, but no purpose, like nothing really emotional connected to it. If you could advise OTAs, hotels and travel tech founders, what should they build around meanings?
Yeah, well, it really stems with first figuring out who the ideal clients are. Going from what you listed of the highlighting amenities and features of properties and products and stuff, and trying to serve everyone is going to get you nowhere if you're trying to add meaning to your business. So you have to know exactly who you're speaking to, who exactly needs your products, your services, your hotels, your experiences, your destination, who needs that? And it's beyond the typical demographics that we're used to talking about in the world of business. It's really from the psychographics. It's about the emotional appeal, the emotions of your ideal clients. What are those people going through in life? What are they really wanting for their lives? What are the feelings that they're seeking? And then once you understand your ideal clients, at the same time, you also have to understand what are the feelings, the outcomes, the emotions behind what it is you offer. So again, whether it's a hotel you're trying to sell, whether it's your destination, whether it's a trip package, whatever it is that you're trying to offer, what is it that you can make a connection emotionally between your ideal clients and what it is that you have to offer? So thinking about like that's where it's really important to understand what I call the elements of travel. But if we're trying to sell travel in any way, shape, or form, what is it about travel you're trying to sell and who are you trying to sell it to? So if you're trying to sell cultural experiences, well, what does that actually mean for your ideal client? Why
Nice.
should they care about it? Why should they care about immersing into another culture? What is it about immersing into another culture that's going to help them
Mm,
get the results that they are looking for? Again, there is this concept of emotions first travel. And there was a Forbes article that recently came out talking about it too, but that's really what we built the TCN upon is this emotions first travel. So if people are motivated emotionally to travel, what is it about your product, service, destination, whatever it is, that can connect emotionally and provide those solutions, outcomes, feelings for your ideal clients, if that makes sense. So
yes.
understanding the nature, understanding the culture, understanding these various benefits of what you're trying to sell and being able to actually sell that instead of the amenities, the features, the old logistics, the typical logistics of what it is that you people are so used to in the industry. I honestly don't know too much. I know there's a company called Black Tomato that's been around for quite some time, and I follow them on LinkedIn, and they speak a lot about this emotions and feelings and stuff. So I think definitely they would be. But that's what we're doing within the TCN. We have hundreds of travel agents, advisors who have come in to learn how to combine
Oh, nice.
what they're doing with travel coaching. And we're actually launching a program next month, an ICF program specific for travel agents, advisors to combine the travel coaching into their business models. So it helps specifically travel advisors be more intentional with all of this. So the
Great.
emotions, the transformations, these meaningful experiences beyond just what they offer, but their whole marketing system and their whole business model.
Where do you see that the future is going in the industry, and where do you see actually the travel coach network is going?
Yeah, I mean, we have so much that we are working towards. Obviously, the next step for us is really to integrate further into the travel agent world, like I mentioned. But our long term vision is being able to provide, as we're building now, a database of travel coaches who focus in so many different niches, who have different ideal clients that then we can turn to companies where companies in the corporate space can give access to their employees, to their business travelers for whatever it is that they're looking for, whether it's traveling better on your business trips, whether it is learning how to integrate or better use your vacation days, whether that is using travel as a way to boost your creativity and working with a travel coach because of a project that you're working on in your for your company, whether it's moms who are trying to figure out work life balance, being able to work with a travel coach for that. So travel coaches have such unique niches that we're really being able to build a system where we can provide access to such a wide range of travel coaches. So think of all these different sort of therapy and coach platforms that exist out there just in general around life or health. We're doing that in the sense of travel coaching.
That's amazing, and thank you for sharing. But before we end up, there was this question on my mind I really needed to ask. Have you have something on the bucket list that not yet you didn't travel to yet? There's any country still like still a bucket list?
I know I should probably come up with a better or like a good answer because people do ask me that a lot. I've just been so focused in business that, my backpacking days have been a bit behind. Yeah, well, I mean, there's definitely places I'd love to return back to or parts of countries that I haven't been to, like the southern part of Italy, or I really like the smaller countries in Europe, like Slovenia and
Yeah.
Slovakia. They just are very just serene. But then also the South Island of New Zealand. I've been to the north, but I'm a very much of a nature type of person. So
Right.
the South Island of there, and then also the Banff area region of Canada has been someplace that's always been on my list because of just how beautiful
Nature
the
there.
lakes
Yeah.
and the mountains look in photos.
Well, I wish you go there soon, of course, with your business. But thank you. And the podcast called Level Up. So, what does level up means to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think leveling up really is just striving to do your best, be your best, whether that's mentally, whether that's health-wise, whether that's in your business, like setting the bar high for yourself and building a system of consistency, and discipline to be able to reach that level of whatever that looks like for yourself, because it's going to look different for everyone. But really just optimizing your life and your wellness and, so that we can all live the best life that we can and feel and do and be the best that we can.
Nice. Thank you. It was an honor to have you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it, especially if it's really early morning for you. I really appreciate it. We'll stay connected. I'm gonna share your information on the description, of course, so people can reach out to you. But yeah, I wish you all the best today, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you so much, Hakim. Thanks for having me.
Every conversation can and will elevate you. It's where real talk meets real growth. After